Hi, Shanna. How are you? I cannot hear you. I think you're on mute. Now I think, yeah, I think now I can hear you. I think you press mute again. Do you hear me? I think now you're okay. Can you speak so I can hear you right now. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you typing. I checked my mic and it's working properly. Shen, I'm here. I'm talking. I see that my mic is working properly on the participants chat.
Yeah, I can see you.
Oh, but I hear you. I hear you perfectly.
I can see you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, right.
How are you today?
I'm doing very well. Yes, there's some practice this so that everything would go to plan. And I'm thinking, oh, I can't believe I've got no sound.
No, I hear you and I can hear you clearly. And do you hear me now?
Perfect. Yes. So can you see me?
I can see you. Yes.
Yes, I can see you too. Great.
Okay. Yeah. So do we know how this starts or?
Say that again. Sorry.
So it's 9:30. I think we should start. So how do we proceed? That's what I wanted to know.
Okay. So are you the moderator or are you one of the speakers?
No, I'm one of the speakers. You're also one of the speakers, no?
And I'm also one of the speakers. Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know who is that. There is someone, a third person that is the host. And he's on mute. The host is on mute and without camera. He's recording right now, but I don't know if we start with him or without him.
I'm here.
Oh, hello.
Right.
Nice to see you.
Thank you, Maria Eliana, and thank you, Shira. Sorry, I was just wrapping up another panel with a lady in Spain, and before that with a lady in Egypt. So I think we've been crossing.
Wow. So now you've got a lady from Scotland.
Oh, really? Well, where are you in Scotland?
I live near Stirling, but I live in a place called Bridge of Allen beside the university in Scotland.
Is that near Glasgow? No.
No, Glasgow's probably about 40 miles.
Right.
Edinburgh is about 40 miles.
Right, right.
So it's sort of midway, so it's quite handy for traveling.
Right. And Maria, where are you from?
So I'm from Colombia, South America, but I'm located, but I'm right now in Washington, D.C. I
Oh,
lived
right.
in Washington, D.C., so I'm here
Right.
in the United States.
The United States. So wonderful to have the two of you. And
Yeah, from different parts. That's
so,
so good.
so
And where are you located? And
I live in Bangalore in India.
in Bangalore. Okay. Mhm.
I don't know, have the two of you ever come to India or on some occasion or not? Or?
No, I have not been able to go. Wish I have not been in India. I have been in Sri Lanka
Oh,
for
really?
work. Yeah.
Close enough, but yeah.
And
So,
I haven't been to India, but I've got people I've been working with in India, and I'm just amazed at how hard they work. They're
yeah,
such hard workers. It's unbelievable.
yeah, in some ways, I think the country is a large one, and so we have to do our bit till we get to that level of economic emancipation, right? Where,
Exactly.
where things, so I think we've got to do the hard yards now before we can, count us as successful, right? So,
Yes, and I think that one of the very big insurance companies just where I live, Prudential, they have a huge call center out in India.
right.
And so because I know people that work there, they, I think they say people from India, they're just ready. They're ready to go and they've got everything done. And why aren't Scottish people, well, I'm not saying Scottish people don't do that, but yeah, I think in India people do work very
Right.
hard.
Yeah. Wonderful. So without much ado, what we can do is we've had a day long full of sessions. We're running back to back, and the organizers tend to keep very strict on the timing. So I do apologize. I came in a minute late. We're on about the
Don't
fourth.
worry.
So we've got about 26 minutes, Maria Eliana and Sheena. What we could do is, obviously your biographies are out there in
Yeah.
the library for everyone to see. Your resumes are so long and impressive that I think we could spend half an hour just reading that up, right? But what I would do is, and rather than interrupt your flow by imposing my questions and forcing my point of view on what I think should be the thesis of this discussion, I'd rather that you speak first, and then maybe I can respond, because that way it's a lot more interesting for the audience. They want to come and hear you and not me, right? So,
Right.
Can I just say, I've actually got slides, but I've noticed that most people don't have slides. So do people have been speaking without slides?
yeah, Sheena, I think the problem is that we had bandwidth challenges. So people have tried to play videos, because clearly pictures say 1,000 words, right? But somewhere it just hangs in the ether, and then you're neither here nor there, right? And no one knows how to take control. So I think in alphabetical order, I'll start with Maria Eliana, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Maria,
should I share my presentation, my slides, so it's better not to?
Can you just talk to your slides? You can just present in audio mode. We'll listen to it.
Okay, and I look at my presentation.
Yeah,
and
please.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Okay, so my name is Maria Moore. I'm the Director of Programs at the Trust for the Americas. It's a nonprofit organization located in Washington, D.C., but we work in Latin America and the Caribbean in more than 24 countries. And we have reached more than 2 million people around the region. Something that is important is our mission and how I tie this mission to the topic that we're gonna talk today. Our mission is to promote social and economic inclusion of vulnerable communities in the region. And basically, I choose this topic of acquiring a skill of lockdown because when COVID started, we came with a big issue. It's like we were working with vulnerable communities, training them to acquire skills, but in technology community centers. And most of our partners have the centers, and then people come to the centers, they get trained, they get support from facilitators. And when COVID happened, like
Mhm.
it was this distance, it was a break. So
Right.
we have three challenges at that point.
Mhm.
So the first one was equipment.
Mhm.
So these vulnerable communities couldn't go to the places where they have equipment, like a tablet or a computer, to get connected, to get trained, to acquire skills.
Correct.
And the second was connectivity. In
Mhm.
Latin America, and I know in developing countries, connectivity is still an issue. Not
Right.
everyone is connected.
Right.
It's just a few people. So they couldn't connect to get trained and get the skills to apply for a job, to start their venture, their economic venture. So what we did is we came with ideas to how to execute or implement our projects by using technology. That is something that we have been fostering in the organization for more than 20 years.
Right.
We truly believe that not only accessing technology is important,
Mhm.
the uses of technology is important, but you can use it for many purposes. But what we call appropriation of technology is the most important, because we want people to be able to use technology for their professional career and development and
Right.
for their personal growth.
Right.
So that's something that that inspired us. We saw in COVID and this disconnect that happened, an opportunity to bring other ways to serve our populations. So we have two types of populations. The first one is local partners. And we
Correct.
call it local partners because we build development projects with them. We don't do it by themselves, and we want them to get the capacity so that they can thrive and do it by themselves.
Correct.
And we just leave that with them. So these are NGOs, local governments, universities. So what we went is like we start doing a survey and saying, I'm connecting with them via cell phone, via WhatsApp, and telling them, are you right? How is your people?
Mhm.
How we can support you? Do you have connectivity to do something online? Many of them at the beginning says like 70%. They say, no, we're closed, our capacity is closed, we cannot do it. So we start to work together as a team.
Mhm.
And we did something that was amazing. We separate and see our population. So first we saw there were local partners, facilitators, teachers that really have access to what we're using now: Zoom, Teams, Hangouts, all these tools that can connect people.
Correct.
So but they didn't knew how to use it. So we
Mhm.
started working with them on learning and then feeling familiar of using these technologies so that they can connect with us and we have an interaction, but also connect with others, no? Connect with others. So that was the first segment of the population, and we knew they have connectivity, most of them, and we knew that they have equipment.
Mhm.
But then there was another segment that was the most vulnerable ones, that the persons with disabilities we serve, the women heads of household that we serve in poor neighborhoods that are at risk of losing everything, going to extreme poverty,
Mhm.
at least of violence in their home, youth at risk, that if they're not going to be working and acquiring the skills, then they go and maybe start doing illegal businesses.
Correct.
So we say we need to connect it in a way that they feel comfortable, and that's when we start also to use other type of tools, which we have been amazed, because we did a pilot last year without knowing COVID by using WhatsApp. I don't know if all of you know, in the United States, WhatsApp, they don't use it that often, but in Latin America, it is a product of Facebook. And we start using WhatsApp and Facebook jointly to train people, in how to use those technologies, but also in how to create, how to be resilient in time of crisis. If you have an entrepreneurship venture, a micro entrepreneurship, teaching them how to sell online, how to use tools online, like Facebook Marketplace, Instagram, and other platforms that they can serve, they can use to showcase their products and services.
Right.
Another thing that we started to do with them was like what we call micro learning. So what we have seen in this past, from March to now, like it have been more than 5 months, is that people done, this type of people, vulnerable people, cannot get engaged for more than a specific time in their cell phones using WhatsApp or Facebook or even in this platform. So we called something that we created something that is called micro learnings.
Right.
And these micro learnings is a specific short videos, short tips, tools that will tell them real quick what to do. Really they connect real fast. They learned, and then we can evaluate with a form. So for example, if we do it through Zoom or Teams, that is the Microsoft product that we also use. So we have a webinar now, like the one that we're doing, but we do those webinars with a specific topic. So they say how to identify that your business need to do something different. Right. So we invite someone that is expert. They give them they give a lecture, and then at the end, we create like a evaluation form and ask 2 or 3 questions about what was called. So we just want to see what they're learning in these webinars, and that's a specific tool. In Facebook, for example, is different for the ones that don't have really good connectivity and just have to use their smartphones with the data that is there. So what we do with them is, okay, there's a Facebook community learning. We post a video, short video, really interactive about how to use digital tools, digital marketplace. And we show them how to get there. And then in Facebook community learnings, you can create a small test and ask 1 or 2 questions. And then we know in that community that we created in Facebook, who answered, how many people, what is their age, and we capture the information that they're doing. So, and then WhatsApp, we use WhatsApp as a tool for mentoring, guiding, and nurturing them. It's like, okay, so we got your information in a form. We see that you got these skills. Now we're gonna provide you support during these times. And we have projects. For example, one project is focused on woman empowerment. So for example, a lot of the content that we have created of micro learnings for them and really interactive have been in things that are important for them right now. So we created something for violence prevention against women and girls, because we know that it's important. And they have a small business and they were just selling locally. So we taught them how to use these tools that are online that they can sell, or how to use even WhatsApp to create their groups and connect with others that need something. We have another project that is about reskilling, upskilling in partnership with Microsoft. And we have been doing this for more than 15 years with them. And what we want is that they don't lose their job, that they can continue acquiring skills, or for those that lost their jobs and are job seekers, we're providing them with new skills or things that they thought that they were not as that strong, and we want to empower them to use or to learn new tools. We have another project in Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic that is just focused on entrepreneurs. So we're helping them, like, what are the guidelines, what are the hygiene things that you have to have for your business. We use innovation tools and idea acceleration process, so they can come up with ideas to do their business with the new current that is COVID. So we have been doing that, and also using the tools that I already mentioned of WhatsApp and Facebook. And we have another project that is focusing more in supporting youth and innovation within them, and then support with innovation with governments. So for example, in Panama, Belize, and Costa Rica, something that happened is that we need to connect with local governments and help them to work with things that are related to transparency and open government and open data. So it's difficult. They don't want to get trained that, not all of them were engaged. So we start to do like lectures or like roundtables, like online roundtables, to hear their thoughts and create action plans with them. So probably it was not good for them to start training. They wanted more dialogue. If they're officials, like government officials, so we start dialogues with them. And with the young people, with the innovation projects that we have in Jamaica, what we started is we told them, okay, what's going on in Jamaica with COVID? What are your ideas to overcome? How you can see the opportunity? And we did something that we call, a lot of people call it hackathon. We call them ideathons. And it was, the center was the youth. They were the one that coming up for solutions for the supermarkets, for the restaurants, for agriculture. And now we're giving them seed funding so they can create that innovation. They can really create a business plan and put it in practice. So we're doing, and this is a summary, of course, what I think is most important in acquired skills at lockdown is providing tools that are easy to use, that you can capture the attention of your different audiences. So as I told you, local partners that probably have connectivity and computers or tablets as we do, the three of us here. But you also have to think about that are disconnected. And in Latin America, I don't know how it's in India or in Scotland, but in Latin America, when you use a cell phone, this one, a smartphone, a lot of people, even poor people, get these cell phones. The cheaper version of it. But the data that they pay, Facebook or WhatsApp doesn't consume that data, so they can have it for free. So you have to use things that they're using and they use on a constant basis to engage them. We don't want to lose them. We want them to get connect. So I think that's our most important lesson in this time of COVID, this pandemic, under lockdown. Like even your lockdown, by using innovation within the organization, because we did an ideathon internally to think what are the solutions, but also given the opportunity to think about what are the innovations, and then asking the people what were their needs. It helped us to really continue delivering services and providing tools and skills to the most vulnerable communities in Latin America and the Caribbean.
Maria, clearly you're very, very passionate about what you're doing, and
I love what I do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was great to see how many projects you're doing across Puerto Rico, this community, that, across types of work. And as we wrap up, maybe I'll leave you with two questions, but we will first get to Sheila. How do you choose these projects and how do you measure the impact? But we can get to that later. Sheila, I know you've been patiently waiting. Do you want to jump in and
okay, mine's slightly different. Okay, I'm Sheena Walker. I'm a director of performance, and I want to just ask and pose a question. How can we do things very differently in this great new world?
Right.
And since lockdown, I've been looking at how we can be more creative, how we can be innovative, and how we can look for opportunities to do things very differently.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just like to do one line on myself, which is I was an athlete and a national coach,
mm-hmm.
and went to the Olympics as the manager. And so my brain has two words, and that is mastery and performance.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we look at athletes plan, they prepare, they train, they have true grit, determination, and that mental preparedness. And these were the skills that I wanted to take into the people who were very challenged. And if I was to ask you, both of you, how easy is it to learn a new skill? Sometimes we say yes, sometimes we say no. I myself was learning a skill to dance.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so desperate to learn to dance earlier this year. And I couldn't believe I found it so difficult. And it made me realize that if I found it difficult to learn to dance, that people are learning new skills will also find it difficult. So we've got to find innovative ways of teaching people. So I want to share with you, when I was learning to dance, I want to share an analogy of Beauty and the Beast, the
mm-hmm.
Disney character.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to share Beauty. When Beauty was launched here last year, Beauty and the Beast, she came on and danced and she had presence.
Mm-hmm.
She had power.
Mm-hmm.
She had positioning. She had a brand. What if we shared all these P's with people in the business world? In sharp contrast to the Beast, who she was trying to show how you can be positioned and have a brand, how you can be powerful, and how you can lead the field in a different way. And I think that if I was to condense some of that, how can we as business people lead the field with
new positioning, a new brand, new power, new presence. And one of these areas that beauty did well was presence.
Mhm.
When we're in business right now, one of the key things is we have to be visible. We have to be visible and have what I call gravitas. We have to be visible, we have to be out there. And one of the key things that people don't get done so well is how they speak. Speaking is one of the most profitable skills in business today.
Right.
And many people go out and they deliver information. Today, in our new economy, in our great new world, we have to be able to speak in the boardroom, speaking to contractors. We've got to deliver who we are, what our message is. That's really important. There's 4 things that I've been teaching my business people. The 4 things that I ask, and these are questions for everybody that's listening or business people. If you want to be positioned as world class right now in your business, you need to, number 1, you need to be an expert. If I asked you about beauty, she was an expert on stage. If I asked you about Andy Murray, the tennis player,
Correct.
he's an expert in tennis. Everybody in business today that wants to learn new skills has to decide what are they an expert in. And they have to be able to communicate that expertise. The second thing is, and this is something that I found people didn't have, you need to have a system, a process, a formula. I call it a model. So you need to be able to go out and demonstrate your expertise, demonstrate your services and your projects, and you need to have a conceptual model to speak to do that. The third thing that's important is you need to be consistent. So you need to have presence, be visible, your social media, your website, what you sell, your services, the suite of services, you need to be consistent. And the fourth thing that's really important is you need to have a mentor. That's not somebody that's the same as you, that's somebody that's 2 or 3 levels above you.
Right.
Because if I was asking you, do you want to be average, good, great, or world class? And right now, in our new world, I would say you need to be positioned as world class by demonstrating how you plan, prepare, how you perform, how you position yourself. And I would leave you with, how can we create a brand new world, create happiness, create a strategy? Thinking into design is one of my taglines. How can we design you? How we can design me and dare to be different in our brand new world. Thank you.
That was very refreshing, Sheena, because in some ways you talked of what I call the softer aspects of learning, the software in our personas, right? That we need to go change and improve our ambition. And I heard Maria earlier talking about equipping communities in some ways through also digital tools, hardware. So that's quite interesting. Firstly, I think just very generically speaking, is a bad time a good time for learning? I mean, what I mean is,
yes, it is.
When there were high tides in the world, perhaps we just got so busy we never cared to learn, right? And now in some ways, perhaps when all people are not employed, they have more time on hand, it seems like a good time. But the mood isn't there, somewhere the resilience isn't there, the hope isn't there. Well, what do you think, Sheena? What's your take? Is that a good time, therefore, the lockdown time to learn?
Well, I think that I've been very pleasantly surprised because of my sporting background. If you're an athlete, and if I was working with an athlete this afternoon and something wasn't right, I would say, we can't move forward because we need to look at the techniques, the tools and the skills you're applying. These are not working, so we need to correct that. so that tomorrow you can train differently. Now,
Right.
with that philosophy, I am just blown away by teaching my sports mythology. I've actually got a program, my model's called The Science of a Corporate Athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm actually asking my clients that I work with in the business world to do things in 48 hours. I'm asking them to change in 48 hours, and they'll say, oh, Sheena, no, that's really difficult. That's really, and I'm saying, well, Andy Murray has to do what his coach says.
Correct.
So Ronaldo, the football player,
Yeah.
gets told today, we don't like that.
Yeah.
No, and they have to change. So my philosophy is very different. And the methodology I'm using is correct it and have a new direction to get a new result.
Brilliant. So you're resetting everything, right?
Resetting everything, yes.
Ambition, design, style, purpose, approach, who you
Yes.
are, who you're training with, everything.
Everything. And I do, what I actually do, I just started doing this about 6 weeks ago. I do a 90-minute strategy session. Usually I would maybe do that in between, but I've been doing that at the beginning and iron out all of these things. And I guess that what I say is we need to have a quality standard in everything we do.
Right. Right. Wonderful. Maria, let me just get back to you with one question. Clearly, as you equip the communities, you're reducing the digital divide, right? You're being fair to them by also giving them access to the benefits of the world. When you finance such projects, are you ever worried that they may use technology for less important things, just plain socializing, chatting up friends, getting spoiled, learning the wrong things, because technology is a platform, right? You can learn a lot of things.
Exactly.
So
For us, it's really important, and I'm going to tie it with something that you said before Sheena was presenting, is we really look, our model really look for partners that have the same mission that us. And as I say, the uses of technology, it depends on how you put it. And I think I can tie it to the what you call the software or the soft skills or the life skills. We don't do any project or any course or any microlearning without incorporating life skills,
right.
Leadership, empathy, resilience. So it's not just acquiring those hard skills or
Right.
yeah, it is a combination of both, because if you don't combine both skills, it doesn't work. It doesn't really get into each of us. And doing a reflection about Sheena's also question is what I've been doing in the lockdown. Like, yeah, I work, I have a full-time, I'm fortunate to have a full-time job.
Right.
But what I've been learning is I used to exercise before having kids. I have two really small girls, one 6-year-old and one 2-year-old. And I was like leaving my personal space behind because of the day-to-day.
Right.
And I started incorporating and doing exercises with football players, soccer players,
Right.
online, on Instagram for free. And you don't know how I feel every morning to wake up, exercise, have a plan for exercise, meditate, and then I put more effort to my work. So I also want to transfer that to the organizations, the people that lead the organizations I work with,
Right.
and also with the participants. So it is about a routine. It is about a combination of various things. It's not just about acquiring a technical skill, that it could be marketing, doing a business plan, using the technology we have available with purpose of improving your professional development, but also how you can also take some of this time to reflect on what do you need, look inside yourself and what do you need. And then when you know what you need inside, then you can also work in other things with other people. So I think that's pretty important, have that equilibrium between both.
I think that you've hit the nail on the head. I think that that's one of the things with my program it's got 7 areas in it, and one of it is well-being. And in sport, we call that quality recovery time.
Right.
And so I always tell my people, every day I want you to have quality recovery time of an hour. And I tell them what they can do. And some people like to get up early in the morning, so I give them a program, 5 minutes, 5 minutes movement, 5 minutes meditation, 5 minutes of memory. I give them specific, everything you do in the business world now needs to have a process and a system. Or you can't measure it, or you can't see the difference. And I think that that's maybe where I've got results. And the second thing is that I was an HR director and a training and development director, so I've been able to take my business background and my sports background together and create what is cutting edge techniques, tools for people to lead the field right now. So I feel quite privileged that people, every week I meet them now for an hour and they're saying, I've done this, Sheena, I've done this, I've done that. I think, whoa, that's brilliant. Whereas sometimes before they'd say, I haven't got time.
Right. So thank you very much. Firstly, thank you to both you ladies. You're highly accomplished, you're deeply passionate, you're really changing the world in your ways. Sheena, you, the sporting world now, and Maria, you, the communities, wherever you put your hand. So thank you again.
Thank you.
I wish this could have been longer, but time's run out. On behalf of the Women Economic Forum, it's really my privilege to thank each of you and to confer the award of Iconic Women Creating a Better World for All, which is what I think the two of you have set out to do. And so we'll say goodbye on that note, and stay well, stay safe, and continue to heal the world.
Bye, Maria.
Okay,
Bye.
thank you. Bye, Maria. Bye, Sheena. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Nice to meet you. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Sheena, you'll have to log out. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, hang on a minute. I don't think that's connected.
There's something called leave the meet.
Yeah, I've got it. I just.
Brilliant. Cheers. Okay. Hi, Deepa.
Hello. So do I give you a water break?
No, yeah. You are kind. Because the point is, and I'll just confess, I've been so back to back that
I can imagine. I'm getting raving reviews about your moderation. And for a change, it feels so cool to sit on the speaker side right now for me, because
so.
I've been going through this.
Give me a just tiny second.
Sure, take it.
Yeah. Or rather than waste time, Deepa, I was trying to find your introduction. Do you want to go introduce yourself? And then
Sure. Yeah. So my name is Deepa Athreya. I'm a leadership coach for students. I've been working with over 2,500 schools in Tamil Nadu.
Wow.
I'm from Chennai,
Right.
which is Tamil Nadu and the south of India. And I've worked with over 3 lakh students till date, and the focus has been leadership for children, helping children take charge of their lives at a very early age. And on a personal note, as far as this topic is concerned, I'm a mother of 2 teens as well.
Right.
So that's a short introduction about me.
So Deepa, thank you very much. That's a lot of schools to manage, right? I mean, it's not 1, 2, 3, and so what's the total student population you are helping?
Over 3 lakh students.
3 lakh.
Yeah, and a couple of, and of course we do work a lot with teachers and the parents as well. So basically addressing the entire ecosystem of a student. So that's
I mean, the way you work, Deepa, do you leave a school a certain formula to go practice? The Deepa formula, if you might, for improving you, or are they just, or they sign up to a program and it's...
So certain programs are ready-made, certain programs are customized. Most of the programs are customized because every school has its own core values and flavors. So we work accordingly. We do have a team to support, and we work very closely with the teachers who are the torchbearers of the school. and that in turn has a domino effect, right, on
Right.
the student. So when you empower a teacher, you empower a bunch of students. So
Correct.
that's the kind of model that
Right.
take.
Because this is interesting because actually very late in my corporate career, actually my boss said, I think all of us need to improve our EQ. So we thought we just changed a vowel or something, right? I mean, generally, we thought we were being hired for IQ all these years, and suddenly, what is this EQ?
EQ.
It became very fashionable, right?
Right,
And
right.
it became necessary and vital for us to acquire this skill. And to be honest, I think some of us have it naturally. We have it in our genes. The others acquire it, and you can know when it's a bit put on, but I think at least that way they tend to be a little more manageable by their friends. Otherwise, they're sometimes impossible to deal with, right?
Absolutely.
So why is this suddenly this focus on EQ? And then we'll come to the specific question for your world, which is why EQ is important for teens. I just feel EQ is important for everyone.
Absolutely.
And I think maybe improving the adults' EQ may be half the solution, but I don't know. So let's start with that.
Absolutely, Sachdev. Actually, you hit the nail on its head. So when I saw the topic, I really felt that EQ for teens to adapt and have a higher emotional quotient. I think the ecosystem of the teen needs to get to be aware of their EQs as well, right? So ability to understand, use, manage your emotions in a very positive directions. That's what EQ is all about, to sum it up. And it's increasingly becoming very, very important these days because I'll just tell you where I'm coming from as far as teenager is concerned. First of all, when you hear the word teen as a parent, you're scared. Okay, there is the stereotyping of a teen, the parent visualizes a teen as some kind of uncontrollable monster in your home. So that's how it is.
Yeah, correct.
So, and then there is this, these days there's a preteen concept as well. Oh, my child is celebrating his or her double-digit birthday, 10, 11 preteens. And there's a lot of hype going around it, if I may use the word hype, because children are awesome the way they are, and God makes no mistake. I think it's the entire system that is kind of stereotyping this whole thing on one hand. And children do they don't do what you say. They basically do what you do. So it brings back to your statement of saying we as adults need to manage our EQ first, right? Manage our emotions, channelize it in the right direction. How calm are we when things go wrong? We are right now, I think the entire world has hit a reset button. So all the experiences that I'm boasting of, 3 lakh student, 2,500 school, it's all come back to reset, because now currently, as far as education system is concerned, we are moving from a real world into a virtual world. And that's a new experience altogether. So I don't think any of us can bank on any of our experiences from maybe the learning. Yes, we can take our learnings from a past, but I don't think we can boast on our experiences anymore. And therefore, all of us are going through a crisis, and we're all on the same plane, be it an adult, a Gen Z, a millennial, an adult, or a senior citizen, whoever, all of us are on the same plane right now. It's very important for us to learn to manage, because our children are watching us. I think students these days, teenagers, they are facing through a terrible situation. We had an awesome childhood, didn't we? Yeah, we didn't have to wear masks to go to school. We didn't face a lockdown. We didn't know what climate change was. We didn't know what no use of plastic. What is global warming? We didn't know anything, right? And these days, I think to a large extent, we adults are responsible for having created a messed up world for our children, actually. And the sooner we take that responsibility and tell them, hey, we are with you in this together, and it's okay to fail. Okay, one of the major courses that is hot selling in my module is handling rejection and failure for teenagers, because most of the teenagers are not willing to fail, and they don't know how to react when they fail, right? And that's because, again, because of the expectations that are mounting in the peer pressure, the parental pressure, the system pressure, everywhere. Oh my God, if I fail. So A lot of things are involved in this. And I guess for us to talk to in terms of addressing teens, I just to simplify and put this, because I know as a moderator what role you play. I've been doing that since morning today. This is my seventh session.
You must do your full justice, sir.
Yeah. So just to sum it up, I think we have to, as a parent, we have to look at A, B, and C. I mean, just making it easier for the listeners right here. We just look at A, B, and C of managing your child's EQ. First is awareness. A stands for awareness. Be aware of your emotions first, because it begins with you, and then be aware of your child's emotions as well. So when you lose your cool, obviously your child is going to lose them. Okay, I can boast of myself I have an 18-year-old and I have a 15-year-old at home, and we're pretty chilled out. Okay, we do have our fireworks, which will not last more than 5 minutes.
Fantastic.
So we're pretty chilled out that way. I have given them the space to come and talk to me about anything. And non-judgmental is the key word. When you have a crush, when you have a breakup, you're very copied in an exam. Can you see, some of us kind of confuse our child. Okay, no, I'm your best friend. Okay, great. Then the child says, Ma, you know what, today I didn't study. I actually copied. That's it. And then we blow a fuse off. Now the child is getting confused. Oh my God, I thought my mom is my best friend. At the same time, you receive everything. I'm not saying that we need to encourage copying or certain not so great practices, but receive everything and then respond. Don't kind of react immediately. Respond at a later date and put them down. And so when my child came and told me for the first time that he copied, I said, oh, okay. Did you get caught? No. But the next exam, I made sure that he was more prepared and he didn't have to copy. So that's the key. So first is be aware. Second is be the change. B stands for be the change. You are the change. So first, you are the change you want your child to be.
Right.
So your child is watching you all the time, the way you handle your anger, your sadness, your ability to fall back. See, if you go through my profile, I just wanted to cut my profile short, but if you go through my profile, I've sold balloons on the streets to survive about 15 years ago. That's how I started my life. Yeah. So, and my children watched me do that. Okay. My children were witnessing it. Therefore, I think it is very crucial for them to say, we have this practice at home where every weekend, I mean, today, Sunday, I'm going to go for my dinner after this. We sit on the dinner table and all four of us, so my husband and my two children, all four of us sit together and talk about our goof ups this week.
Really?
I did this moderation session today and it just overshot. Oh my God, I goofed up. And then we
you're
laugh
an
about it.
ideal family, I think. You're not real. You should be ideal family. But
So each one of us talk about our goof ups and we kind of laugh it over and say, hey, how are we going to do better? Okay. So that's point number 2 is be the change. Point number C, connect with your children first. C stands for connect first, correct them later. Establish that bond, trust, and connect. I think that will bring, you will be able to correct them later. They will do anything for you. So teenagers are not monsters. Teenagers are not brick wall that, you just go hit the brick wall and you just don't know what. It all depends on how we mold them. That's my take on the whole thing, such thing.
Well, this is fantastic. And I have just some thoughts. One is so let's keep the Q constant, the quotient. But hearing you, I thought, as you said, future generations must learn 2 things. One is the reset quotient after COVID. And the other thing that I thought you said was, I personally think is significant, is the rejection thing. Somehow, generally, when parents mollycoddle their children, coming from a sense of comfort, security, and a typical nurturing stance that parents should take, it just is that once you go through school, you get top marks, you will go to college, then you will get the top job, you will have a good marriage, life will be all rosy, you'll get this top job, and it's from point A to point B till kingdom come, right? I'm saying. Whereas actually life is a lot of zigzags, right? And I think if we can prepare, I'm not saying be negative, you should wish everyone the good life, particularly coming generations. And I've also been in rooms where there are debates about parents telling children at your age, I never even had a landline, forget a mobile phone, right? Which is that you're demanding too much and you're coming from a sense of entitlement. But the point I'm saying is, without being that critical, it's also important to tell them that, you know, there are many people in the world who don't even have this, right? For you to change a phone in 6 months just because someone else in the classroom has a better one, you know, is not being real. And so I don't know, maybe as parents, you do the hard yards, so it's quite different, right? No operating manual works, right? When a child argues with a mother or father, right? And children, I think, are very smart. They play parents as good cop or bad cop. You refuse pocket money, they go the other way, right? And so I think that's the human condition. So that is something I wanted to say. What was the other bit that slipped my mind as you were talking? You were saying something. And the other thing I wanted to check with you is, as a modern day teaching practitioner, I grew up in an environment where asking questions was completely impossible. From a Brahminical family, if you argued with your father, your mother, you know, showed eyes. Largely because I think it was seen as contesting the hierarchy of status quo. Right. Similarly, when the teacher wrote something with the chalk on the blackboard, even if he wrote illegibly and you dare not ask what he wrote, you try to ask a friend, what did you write down? Because, I mean, it was very, so whatever you took away, even crumbs, was one had to be grateful for. So from that, completely respecting everything that you hear or see environment to today's children who legitimately want to disagree, even if they don't really want to argue, they just want to be rebellious, because they also seem to grow in a world of choices, right? Or they have other points of information. Someone else tells them that this also is possible, right? How do you, what do you think is the right balance? Because complete submission, like in my generation, to complete rebellion in that. Because I think the EQ world also sits somewhere there, right? I mean, figuring out.
Right. So my take on this is, when we teach our children on the floor, we basically teach something called as collaborative leadership approach. Okay, right. So there needs to be some, as if you use the word balance, and there needs to be a balance. It can't be a submissive parenting. There are different types of parenting. I don't want to get into technique. Right. There's an authoritative parenting. That's the generation that I grew up in. Right. Then there is a very submissive parent who leaves everything to the child. It can't be both. So there should be some kind of a democratic approach towards parenting. See, peer pressure is going to be there. Right. Okay. Mobile phones at the event, when you turn 10, a mobile phone needs to be gifted. That is the norm right now, right? When I'm 10, because my friend has a mobile phone. So all this is there, and we are always wondering what to do, how to go about it. Right. My solution to the whole, I mean, at least the way I mentor my children, when I say my children, I'm talking about my students as well, is that one line: you're awesome the way you are, and God makes no mistakes. Right. So stop comparing yourself with others. Right. Just because somebody has something doesn't mean that you need to have that. Right. Do you really need it? That's the question. So right. In my case, I did get my daughter a mobile phone when she was pretty young, because right. I used to be traveling all the time and I had to communicate with her. And right. that was the only reason, because when she goes to school and she gets right. into the car with the driver, I just had to make sure that she's right. safe. And she's safe. India being India, she right. had to be safe. Right. So, however, we had our ground rules, and we still have our ground rules. So mobile phone gets switched off at 8:30, given to me. And then the next day morning, when she goes to school, she gets it, she goes, takes it, gives it to the teacher, and the teacher gives it back at 3:45, and she uses it only when she comes back. So basically, you know, strike a balance and have certain grounds, because if you're going to start off this thing of your generation, my generation, they're not going to, saying cut the crap, you know, that's what they say. I mean, they use that language, right? Cut the crap, ma, don't start off again, whatever, you know, you hear all these.
In fact, Deepa, for the same exact reasons, I think priests in temples are going out of business. No one's coming. It's a in a very empowered self. The other thing I just wanted to very quickly reiterate from what you said was, you talked of this word imperfections, and I quite love it. I love it because it's paradoxical that someone should like the word imperfections. But even as I progress through my career, and one is never ever making the cut because your boss says you must be that and you must be this, and obviously the performance appraisal system is meant to show that you should be an inch taller by then, right? And so that keeps you in check as well, right? And the behavior is on track. But the point I'm saying is, one of the flaws we develop as leaders late in life is that we don't embrace that imperfection. We don't realize, after all, we are a bag of bones and flesh, and you're born with some virtues. At some point we'll age, some will age sooner, some will die sooner, some will have a longer life, some will have a prosperous life. So it's really a mixed bag. God doesn't give you the playbook right then, right? To say this is exactly the path you must follow. So I think, again, training youngsters on just accepting that, what I call the world of diversity, that, there are also other people who look different or may behave different. It's, I think, an important one, really.
Yes, very
Are you
true.
rewriting the curriculum?
Yes, at a curriculum level, at a policy level, we are fighting for changes, but at least at curriculum level, these days when we give out in the schools that I work with, when we give out our report cards, when a child is graded as A or A plus, we say don't compare it with the rest of the children in the class. So it's like when you play a video game, you want to beat your personal best score.
Right.
So if you have scored A this semester and next semester you're gone to an A plus,
Correct.
that's a win.
Right.
So compare yourself with yourself and not with the rest of the world. So that is something that we talk about. We talk about it's okay to fail. Failures, you learn from failures. You don't learn anything much from success. Of course, you do pay the price for success, but you learn a lot from failure. So it's okay to fail. It's okay to be imperfect. And it's perfectly fine to be imperfect. And we're all imperfect in our own ways.
So any final thoughts? We still do have a couple of minutes, but as you're such a kind soul, I have the next one coming in exactly 5 minutes.
Yeah, there goes the host, and he says 5 minutes left. So yeah, been moderating, been there, done that, so I know what you're going through right now. So basically, the final, I think, talking about social responsibility again, comes from, I'm just trying to connect this EQ bit to the social responsibility. I think Gen Z are absolutely, I think they have that in them because they are learning about climate change, they're watching, they're experiencing. So they have this thing of social responsibility in them. It is us, even now when we don't wear a mask and get out, it's our children who remind us and say, hey, wear your mask. Where did your mask go? Why are you using plastic? And so we as parents need to adopt that. And just like how CSR happens, I think we have to come up with a concept called ISR, individual social responsibility, where each one of us got to be socially responsible, show them the way. So it depends on the way we behave. If somebody in our neighborhood is affected with COVID, do we show empathy or does it become a stigma? Our children are watching the way we are behaving and they learn from us. So that's the final note that I would like to end this session on. We adults and the entire ecosystem are responsible for the next generation. India being one of the youngest countries in the world in terms of the youth population that we have. Future is going to be led by this so-called teenagers. So we need to come together, make this world a better place for them, and we need to change and not them. Once we change, they will automatically change.
Deepa, once again, congratulations. Your conviction comes shining through. You seem very honest and sincere, and someone whom we can completely believe in. So please let your magic out on the world. So again, on behalf of Women Economic Forum, it's really my proud privilege to express as a token of our appreciation this award of iconic woman creating a better world for all. So may your light shine on the world, on children, and God bless.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Sachdev, and you've been doing an awesome job of moderation. And this has been one of the most interactive sessions ever for me. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I'm just leaving the room.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you.
Yes.